Good morning, everyone. Again, we've been talking about values in our very dangerous world, the importance of values. And in this session of Meet the Author, we are going to be talking about Chinese values. And it's my great pleasure to introduce Professor Liu Baocheng, who's the Director, Center for International Business Ethics and Deputy Dean, Academy of Global Innovation and Governance at the University of International Business and Economics in Beijing. He's done this fantastic book, 2 volumes, nearly 1,100 pages, along with his very demanding day job. So I think that's an inspiration to all of us. It's available, this book is available in both Chinese and English. And to share with you, I've been living in Beijing for the last 6 months, and excerpts of this book in English have actually served to induct me into the history and culture of China. So it's very useful. I strongly recommend it. And of course, as a Chinese academic with extensive international experience and research interests in ethics and cross-cultural communication, Dr. Baocheng is also very active on national television in China. In this book, he's captured the nuances and complexities of Chinese values as they evolved over the centuries of continuity and change. So let's hear from him, a kind of narrow view as well as a long retrospective. But first, I think, what inspired this book and what were you hoping to achieve?
Okay. Well, I have been doing research and pushing for policy changes within China over the last more than 4 decades to converge more on international standards and reduce more of the Chinese characteristics, as a matter of fact. And I discovered that China's rise over the last more than 4 decades was largely due to more and more heroes pop up to break the law. So it was those lawbreakers that helped China to change for the better. For example, when speculation was a crime, and those people with courage and desperate, they travel to Hong Kong to smuggle clothes, the CDs, and sell in the black market. And in front of my university, people were doing the black market exchange between a local currency versus US dollar when the official rate was distorting the real value. And that was really there to change China. So the first shot for Chinese reform took place in one small village in Anhui province, where the 18 households decided to divide the land from the commune. And late in the night, they wrote a covenant. If any of us are killed by the government for dividing the land into individual households, the survivors will have to raise our children up to 18 years old. So that was a clear break of the law. But then the secretaries of Deng Xiaoping reported to him that they are breaking this law. Well, Deng Xiaoping asked him, oh, why do they do so? Because all the villagers were beggars. They exhausted all their iridium of begging, and they are ready to die. So Deng Xiaoping said, okay, let them do it. And then the third year, they had bumper harvest by individual households growing their crops. And then Deng Xiaoping said, that's a good way. Okay, all of China, we have to divide all those commune land into individual households. They decide on what to grow, and they will get motivated to grow. So that's the initial change by breaking the law. So law is there to retrospectively to confirm the ethical value of some behavior. Okay, so that's my first observation, which means if the law is not following the basic ethical structure, it needs to be broken, it needs to be demolished. So in the end, I should say, law is a servant of ethics. Okay, without distinguishing what is right and what is wrong, what is virtuous and what is vicious, you cannot really make rush rules. Otherwise, you make your own self, make the whole rule embarrassed. So that's my observation to think about ethics. Second, I visited a squirrel farm by an individual family. The lady was very nice. He was very sympathetic with those squirrels, seeing that the squirrels cracking the nuts, walnuts, pine nuts, so difficult. So the lady decided to crack with a big stone those nuts so that squirrels could have a happy time to eat those nuts. But 3 months later, all the squirrels died. Why? Squirrels need to crack the nuts to rub the teeth off. Otherwise, the teeth will grow all the way so that he won't be able to chew anything. So that gives me an observation that a good intention means nothing. It could be destructive without correct knowledge. Okay? So now the immediate trigger for me to write this book is this gentleman sitting over. Stand up, Christoph. And, you know, China is very, those who have any experience about China, China is ready with many slogans. So they put slogans on the sky bridges and paint slogans on the wall, and etc. So he watched a 12-character slogan, which was Chinese core socialist values, which we really had a fatigue of all those slogans. He said, what does that mean? Well, the prosperity, democracy, justice, rule by law, fraternity, etc., all the wonderful words. And he asked me that, what are those changes of those words? Previously, before we had the 8 shames and 8 honors. So all those preachings about good things and bad things for distinction. So it's more of a intention to build a consensus over ethical understanding. And then, so Christopher said, why don't you write something and to explain to the Western people about all of this? So I decided to research. So this book actually started from the first two chapter, Inquiry into Human Nature. So I really wanted to identify what is the commonality between China and the rest of the world, because so many scholars try to exaggerate the differences in order to show they are different. So there has to be commonalities. The commonality is that people have the same need, although they have different way. So the John Condon had a very direct observation. People around the world are the same, first statement. Second statement, the way they satisfy their needs are different, and that's called culture. So culture is merely a lifestyle, but people's needs are the same. So we all need to drink, we all need to work, etc., etc. So from this, I would see that what would be the differences in some of the ethical values and what is really something embedded behind it. So we use chopsticks. You know, Indian people may use raw hands, and behind all these differences, there must be something that is common that make us, you know, coexist and probably collaborate. So that's actually the intention of this book.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We've just completed our time. We've gone 24 seconds over. Thank you very much. And all our audience here will read further and find out what a rich contribution this book is. So thank you, Professor Liu Baocheng, for giving us such an insightful commentary, which will sort of trigger further interest in reading this book.
Yeah, also
in all its 1,100 pages.
Yeah, to make sure that you are not a hypocrite just by preaching the ethics. Buy this book. And donate to Global Ethics, not to me. Okay.
Thank you so much.